5 things that I guarantee you right now will start happening when you finally stick up for yourself. My name is Oliver. I'm a former socially anxious, people-pleasing man with nice guy syndrome. I overcame that, and now on this channel I help men do the same. When I finally started overcoming the nice guy syndrome, people-pleasing, when I finally started gaining some self-respect, when I started speaking my mind, when I started having some confidence and some genuine assertiveness, it wasn't smooth. So I want to make this video just to prepare you for some things on your journey that you will come up against, almost certainly. The first sign though that you have started to finally stick up for yourself, mate, is that people will try and shame you either in subtle ways or not so subtle ways to get you back into the nice guy box. So when you start actually speaking your mind, when you start saying no, when you start setting a boundary, when you start speaking up when you feel disrespected, the people in your life who were previously benefiting from you having no boundaries whatsoever, the people that were plugged up to you emotionally and draining your energy, people who were benefiting from that, they will announce themselves to you. And those are the people who will tell you that you're selfish. You've changed. You used to be such a nice guy. After all I've done for you, they will really bring out all of the tools in their toolbox to try and keep you where you've been before. Do not allow their tactics to work, mate. I promise, don't allow their tactics to work. Stay out of the nice guy box and don't feel guilty about it. The second sign that you are finally standing up for yourself, brother, is that conflict does not scare you anymore. One of the main reasons why we stay in this nice guy people pleaser box is because we're afraid of conflict. And why is that? Maybe because when we were younger, conflict was either healthy conflict and healthy assertiveness. Maybe that was never modeled by our caregivers or the people around us. Or maybe in some cases, conflict was actually very destructive. Maybe your dad got angry. Maybe arguments erupted between your parents and you, just a kid, witnessed that. You felt the pain and the fear in your nervous system of that experience, and that left its mark on you. So now, as an adult, that little boy is still in your psyche and he still thinks that conflict will be the same. But when you actually start recovering, mate, when you actually start reclaiming your self-respect and assertiveness and your confidence and your right to exist for God's sake, you start realizing that conflict is healthy. You start choosing conflict over being a pleaser. You start realizing that conflict and the discomfort that comes from embracing conflict and having uncomfortable conversations, that's the price you pay for self-respect. And you start realizing that nothing is more important than your self-respect, and you're willing to sacrifice short-term comfort in order to get it. The third sign that you are starting to stick up for yourself is that you start craving solitude more. See, the thing is, when a man is a pleaser and a nice guy, he doesn't have many internal boundaries, and he doesn't have a strong sense of his internal standards. And in some extreme cases, a nice guy people pleaser has been a people pleaser for so long in his life that he doesn't actually know who he is anymore. Maybe he never knew, right? But when you start recovering from this syndrome and people pleasing, you start to learn who you are. You start to know your values, you know your standards. You start to actually like who you are. It's such a common thing that when you start letting go of this existential need to be liked by everybody, you start prioritizing being liked by you. And this almost certainly, unless you're an extreme extrovert, leads to you enjoying solitude more. Because think about this, your entire life has been spent pleasing people. And how much energy has that really cost, mate? Trust me, bloody hell, how tiring is it? How exhausting is it to just exist trying to make everyone happy at the expense of yourself? When you let this shit go, you start craving the nourishing effect of solitude, where you don't have to please anyone and you don't have to put up with people who you don't like. The fourth sign that you are finally starting to stick up for yourself sounds obvious, but it's very profound, and that is you start to speak your mind more. nice guys, people pleasers, socially anxious introverts, we have, and I say we because I'm still one of you lads, even though I've worked on this a lot, we have this thick filter. We're constantly self-editing. We're constantly running our authentic responses, feelings, thoughts and opinions through this thick filter. Almost nothing gets through the other side. We're in a social situation, when we're on a date. This constant self-editing means that some of us, we either just don't speak at all. Some people just completely withdraw. We freeze up in social situations and can't say anything. It's because that filter is so thick and it's been created over the course of years that we can't be authentic in social scenarios. We can't be authentic with anyone. Well, the more we walk the path of recovery, that filter gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner to the point where it's like barely even there. And we start noticing when we're in social scenarios, our authentic opinions just leave our mouth. Sometimes we might even be a little too unfiltered. But to you, in that scenario, that will be a welcome change. You will appreciate how unfiltered you are. After having an entire lifetime being so filtered, so self-editing, this will be a refreshing change. It will be like a cold drink of water in the desert. And this relates to the fifth sign, which is when you start speaking your mind more, you will lose friends, but you'll gain something so much more important: self-respect. Here's what happens when you start speaking your mind. You will lose 80% of the people who are floating around in your life. They're like acquaintances. You don't feel connected to them, but they're just kind of there. But the people who will remain, they will be your true friends. They will see you authentically. You will see them authentically. You're not just two people running this same sort of people-pleasing mask anymore. You'll feel genuine connection. You may have less friends, but you will feel more connected than you ever have in your entire life, mate. That I can guarantee you. Teaching men to stick up for themselves finally is what I do in the 10-week Pleaser to Leader program. I work with you privately over Zoom every single week. I take you through a 10-week predetermined curriculum that we apply to your life, so that at the end of this, I guarantee you, at the end of this, if you apply yourself, you will no longer be a people pleaser anymore. You will no longer be Mr. Nice Guy. You will be the calm, confident, assertive man that people respect, women admire and desire. So if that's interesting to you, if you want to learn more about that, click the link in the description below, check out the page, see if it's for you. Let's jump on a call and talk about it. I am no longer shaking the cam anymore. If you noticed, I've kind of gone the other way with it, but I know in the last video, I shook the cam quite a lot as I was recording it because I was full of caffeine. And some of you guys really didn't appreciate that, so I hope you appreciate the new shot, and I'll see you in the next video, alright mate? Stay courageous.